Hi, I'm Miss Clement, and this is my dog, Pickles. And we're going to read the story to you, When Picasso Met Matisse, by Nita Layden. And I want to tell you that one of my students, Isabella, let me borrow her book. I'm very excited to read this to you. There once was a young pig named Picasso. While the other piglets rolled in the mud and played games, Picasso painted. He painted anything and everything, and in the most unusual way. At the same time, there once was a young bull named Matisse. Matisse was not like the other bulls. He wasn't interested in bullfighting. Matisse was happy only when he painted pictures. And he painted big, bold, bright pictures. In time, word of Picasso's talent spread throughout the pig provinces. Soon, art-loving pigs from all over lined up to buy his creations. At the same time, Matisse was getting famous in the cattle community. There weren't many households that didn't own a Matisse. Picasso and Matisse were becoming art superstars, but this came with a price. Everyone wanted to see them. Art buyers, art sellers, art students, art historians, art groupies. It was an art attack. One day, Picasso got fed up. He said, "I'm tired of this nosy pig pen." And at the same time, Matisse declared, "I'm sick of this crowded cow town." Needing a change, they both decided to look for a peaceful place where they could paint without distractions. So each of the two artists looked far and wide for the most perfect spot. Picasso found a lovely farm looking towards the east. Matisse found a handsome farm facing the west. After Picasso moved in, he went to introduce himself to his new neighbor across the road. At the same time, Matisse went to introduce himself to his new neighbor across the road. This is how Picasso met Matisse. And coincidentally, this is how Matisse met Picasso. At first, Picasso and Matisse were friendly and welcomed each other as neighbors. But soon, things began to change. It started one day when Picasso criticized one of Matisse's paintings. Then Matisse made fun of one of Picasso's. Matisse called Picasso an art hog. Then Picasso called Matisse a mad cow. Matisse quipped, "You paint like a 2-year-old, Picasso retorted. "You paint like a wild beast." Matisse raged. "Your colors look like mud." Picasso spat. "Your paintings look like color by numbers." Then things got really out of hand. It was a modern art mess. It actually looks like a Pollock, if you ask me. Picasso stormed off into his house. "That Matisse doesn't like my art," he huffed. "Well, I'll show him." And Matisse bullied his way into his house. "I'll give that Picasso something he can really criticize," he snorted. Then a full-scale feud erupted. But it was a most unusual battle. Armed with ladders and buckets of paint, Matisse launched the first attack. He started at dawn. By the end of the evening, he had succeeded in transforming the outside of his house into a monster-sized masterpiece. Not to be outdone, Picasso fired up his paintbrushes and in full view of the enemy, counterattacked. He turned his farm into a huge and outrageous pork of art. The two artists retreated into their houses and pulled down the shades. Picasso certainly didn't want to look out his window and stare at Matisse, and Matisse had no desire to give his rooms a view of a Picasso. This presented a problem, and there seemed to be only one solution. Without a word to each other, Picasso and Matisse each began to build a huge wooden fence down the middle of their road. First, Picasso and Matisse seemed satisfied, But both artists went back to painting by themselves. But after a while, Picasso was surprised to find that he missed that bull-headed Matisse. At the same time, Matisse found his studio empty without the presence of pig-headed Picasso. Picasso pondered, that Matisse isn't such a bad artist. He has some interesting ideas. Matisse moaned, that Picasso may not paint like me, but he knows what he's doing. However, being naturally pig-headed and bull-headed, neither artist knew how to apologize to each other. So they did what they did best. They let their paintbrushes do the talking. Picasso painted one side of the fence and Matisse painted the other. Each worked until they were exhausted. It was strangely quiet when they were done. Then, curious to see what Matisse had been doing, Picasso sprinted around to the other side. At the same time, Matisse galloped over to Picasso's side. The silence was broken as the two artists began laughing at their amazing work of art. From that day on, Picasso and Matisse became great friends. They happily took down the fence and shared their different views. A few months later, a big museum bought the fence. Picasso called his side when Picasso met Matisse. Matisse called his side when Matisse met Picasso. The critics called it incredible. The true story of Picasso and Matisse. Picasso and Matisse were not a pig and a bull, but they were characters. They were two of the finest artists of the 21st century. While they were never neighbors, they became close in the small world of art. Henri Matisse was born on December 31st, 1869 in France. Matisse didn't want to be an artist when he was little. He studied to be a lawyer. But when he was 21, he got sick with appendicitis. While he was getting better, he painted his first painting. He liked painting so much that he ended his law career. Pablo Picasso was born on October 25th, 1881 in Spain. His father was an art teacher, just like me, who helped Picasso start painting when he was very young. It was soon obvious that he was very talented. Picasso studied painting in Barcelona and Madrid, two big cities in Spain. But as he was growing as an artist, Picasso decided to move to Paris, which was, and still is, a great city for art. That is where Picasso met Matisse. Both Picasso and Matisse were gaining recognition as artists in Paris. In fact, two Americans named Leo and Gertrude Stein, who lived there, started collecting their paintings. In 1906, Gertrude Stein had a party, and that is where Picasso and Matisse first met. At first, Picasso and Matisse were friendly to each other. They traded paintings. Matisse also gave Picasso an African mask, which inspired him to paint in primitive style, a style he became very famous for. But soon it became apparent that Picasso and Matisse were becoming rivals and competitors. Picasso said some bad things about Matisse's paintings, and Matisse said some bad things about Picasso's. But over time, the two artists learned to respect each other and became lifelong friends. They both owned many of each other's paintings. Matisse once told Picasso, "We must talk to each other as much as we can. When one of us dies, there will be some things the others will never be able to talk of with anyone else." Matisse died in 1954. Picasso died in 1973. But their art lives on in many museums, galleries, and private collections around the world. I will tell you, if you actually want to see a Picasso or Matisse, you can visit the Dallas Museum of Art in downtown Dallas. The museum is free to get into. You will have to pay for parking, and there's some exhibits that do charge a fee, but the Dallas Museum of Art offers lots of summer classes for kids as well, most of which are free. They also have other amazing artists like Degas, Monet. They also have an O'Keeffe, Hoffman, Lichtenstein, Pollock, Van Gogh. There's some amazing artwork there. So I just want to let you know that for the summer, you might check out the Dallas Museum of Art. Thank you.